Welcome, race fans, once again here to Virtual Racing Network. Tonight, we are here on Monday night with the Northwest Xfinity Series. One of our few races here this week as we have tonight and tomorrow night. And then we are, of course, off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for Thanksgiving. So we get time and a half pay, I guess. We're off the day before and after, but that's just another story. But we are here tonight with another great race. We have 16 drivers that have made the trip out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway here. We'll see if anybody's going to be gambling for tonight's race. But before we get into all the racing details and all of that coming up here in just a few moments, we, of course, want to go over our sponsors here for tonight's race. Of course, on the racing side of things, there are two main sponsors here for this season, and those are, of course, ourselves here at VRN, and playing double duty for the broadcast and for this series, that is Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm. Make sure you check them out at wallsbeardco.com for all of those beard balm needs. Definitely here in the month of November, it is No Shave November. You need to take care of that beard. There is no better product to do so than Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm, all natural and organic products. So make sure you check them out and get some of that great product today. And, of course, you couldn't go anywhere if it wasn't for Northwest Racing Series. They are the official one-to-go sponsor here for tonight's race. So we have been privileged to have them here for 2018, as well as Ohio IndyCar League. If you're looking to get into some IndyCar racing, there's no better place to go than Ohio IndyCar League. You can get all the latest information on the league at facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League. SimSpeedShop.com, your one-stop shop for custom-made button boxes and e-brakes for that ever-expanding list of rallycross tracks. So make sure you head on over to SimSpeedShop.com to pick up one or both of those items today. And, of course, last but not least, that is iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphic source. Make sure you head on over there if you're looking to get into broadcasting or just need some overlays for streaming iRacing races. For fun, you can go to ibog.co. Get a hold of Jason Allison today to get started. That being said, of course, we want to introduce our second chair here for tonight's race. Normally racing, tonight he's here in the booth. And, of course, that is the one and the only Steve Silsdad. So, Steve, welcome to the booth as a broadcast tonight instead of being as a racer.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this, getting a little bit different view of the race rather than in the driver's seat tonight. Should be pretty exciting.
It's definitely a different view to get used to, as you get to watch the people you're normally racing with from an aerial view outside the car, so it's kind of like a out-of-body experience for a racer almost. But it should be very interesting to see how it all plays out here tonight. It is Las Vegas. Of course, you may have some people gambling here. We did hear from a couple of drivers. We heard somewhere in the range of 32. We also heard up to 33, 34 laps. I'm not a very betting person, I guess you could say. I think I'm going to come in somewhere around 32, maybe the end of lap 32 to lap 33, and make this a three-stop race. But you're the racing side of this a little more, so on that racing side, if you were out here gambling on fuel, what would be your strategy tonight?
You know, I'd have to agree with you there. I'd probably be thinking about pit road, lap... You're probably going to want to go at least 32 laps just so you don't have to take an extra pit stop there at the end. So, anytime after lap 32, I'd be hitting pit road as soon as I can to hopefully get that fresh tire advantage and gain a little bit of time while everybody else is still on old tires there.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out as far as tires. versus fuel. However, this is Las Vegas. It is a very warm track. The air temp here is 78 degrees. However, the track temp, as we're looking here on the back end that we can see, it is 107 degrees. So the track temp is a little toasty, which it's not as hot as we've seen before, but it is pretty warm. That could play into a factor of seeing some spins here. It could be. It's going to be slick out there, a little greasy, so we'll have to see. Again, this is a 1.52 mile track. We have, I believe, 100 laps around here, so it's 150 miles roughly. So I'm looking forward to see some great racing. Again, we have 16 drivers that have made this trip out here to start this race. The question is, how many of those will finish with their car in one piece?
Yeah, I think that is going to be the question. Like you said, that track temp's 107 already. So it's going to be getting a little bit slick going into this. Thankfully, I think the setup is just a hair tight. So it might balance out halfway decent, partway into a run there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's will, and we'll see. Once we get into the race, of course, we'll be able to tell a little bit more. As far as speed, what the difference is between the start and finish of this race. So we'll just have to wait and see on that, how that speed does differ here later on in the run. But what we do know here coming into tonight's race is one thing we want to look at is we don't have the full point standings to go over here. We will next week. We'll have those broken down a little bit more. But coming into tonight's race, we've gone over this already once. There are 5 drivers that are locked in to the chase after tonight. That is Jeff Stabnell, Sean Breitzman, Josh Coley, Chris White, and Mark Walls. Those 5 drivers are 100% locked in to the chase, and actually 6, because Jason Berg is here, and if he showed up, he's locked in. So 6 drivers are locked in. Only 8 can make it into the chase. So this is where it gets really interesting, because as you pointed out earlier, Brian Barnes is not here. Corey Walters is, and James Paulson is here. So it's going to be a very, very tight squeeze to see if James Paulson can potentially overpower 7th place Brian Barnes and get himself into the chase.
Yeah, there's only an 18-point gap between Paulson and Barnes. So unless Barnes grids and gets some laps in tonight, I think Paulson's going to be able to slip in there on points.
Yeah, and you talk about him being in on points, because this is where this is why we spend a little bit of time going over this, because Brian Barnes not being here, Corey Walters pretty much he's in. I don't think there's much chance for him to get out of this. James Paulson, as of right now, would be in because of points, because Brian is not here. However, you have some kind of ringers in there. John Ottenbacher, who I don't see here yet, if he shows up and gets a win, he is in the chase, as well as Andy Vogt, William Fletcher, Gary Nichols, and Frank Harris. So if any of those 5 drivers get a win, they would outdo James Paulson to be in the chase. So a lot on the line here tonight.
Yeah, you're right there, Charles. And another thing, if Barnes does show up, we've only got a 1-point difference between Corey Walters and James Paulson. So that could end up being a heck of a battle there for that 8th place spot.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's going to be a really good battle. And as we saw a little bit earlier here, we were watching practice before we went live. And we saw, I believe it was James Paulson in the 30 and the 33 of Josh Coley on older tires versus newer tires. And they were trading back and forth. One would get the little pass on the other one, then they'd pass on back. So I expect to see some really, really close racing here tonight. I don't know how close it's going to be, but I expect to see at least some early on here. They'll probably get spread out a little bit, as this is a pretty big track, and you can get spread out. But I think we'll see those little battles throughout the track. We're just going to have to kind of look for them. The question is, who will be in victory lane? And we haven't done this in a while, but we're going to go ahead and do it since we have you here in the booth, and kind of pick who you think your pick for tonight's win is going to be.
Whoa, man, that is a hard choice. We've got a lot of fast cars out there tonight. I'm gonna go with the wild card here, and I'm gonna take Seth Frazier.
Well, I'm gonna go with my old reliable, as I'm gonna call him here tonight, and go with Jeff Stabnow. Just for the sheer fact that I haven't picked him in so long, and even if I do jinx him, he's already in the chase anyway. So I think I'll go ahead and go with him, and I'm gonna actually give him a check on the radio and see if he has a minute here, and we might talk to him, as he is our fastest driver, and that is who we usually like to talk to. One of our fastest drivers. If not, we'll see if we can get Berg, who I don't... well, there he is. Jason Berg just popped in here. So we do have him, and we do have Jeff as well. So we'll pull Jeff down here. Jeff Stabnow, you got a copy?
Hey, I got you, man.
Well, we got you here, and obviously you already knew we got Steve Silstad in the booth tonight instead of racing, but we always like to talk to the fastest driver regardless of who it is, and that happens to be you so far. I did think for a while we were going to have to talk to Steve, as he was the fastest here at practice, putting some laps down, but you are the fastest here with a 30.608. So how much release of that pressure, I don't word it right here, you don't have that pressure. How comfortable are you here tonight coming in knowing that this is the last race before the chase? This is kind of the calm before the storm, you might say, for you.
Oh, I don't think there's ever a calm before the storm when that green flag drops. Maybe there's no real pressure, but I'd sure like to get a third win going into the chase. Get a bonus point up on the rest of these guys. I mean, that'd be huge. But anytime I'm out there on track, I want to win. So, we'll be elbows up there the minute the green flag drops, just like we always are.
Well, we always talk about teammates here, and how obviously at the end of the day, teammates are going to work with each other, but you want the win. So I don't see John Ottenbacher here, assuming he does show up here at the last minute, just to play this scenario out here for you. If it's you and him running 1 and 2, knowing that you're in, you would like that bonus point, but say he's in first and you could have a shot to pass him. He wins, he's in. How hard are you gonna race him versus that one bonus point for you, or getting your teammate into the chase?
I'll tell you what, if John's gonna beat me, he's gonna have to race me as hard as anybody else at the end of a race anyways. Not going to give it to anybody. Love John. John's a great teammate, but wouldn't be fair to any of the other guys trying to get in, like Corey and James Paulson or any of those guys, to just give one away there at the end like that. So, when it comes down to the end of the race, I'll try my best not to wreck them, but I'll race them just as hard as anybody else.
Well, we'll look to see if he is going to show up here. He's got about 6 minutes to do so. That being said here, we'll hand it over to Steve real fast. Steve, you have any questions for Jeff before we let him go get ready for the driver's meeting?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jeff, how's it going tonight? I just, I guess out of curiosity, how's the setup feeling tonight? I know some of these fixed setups can be a handful. This one, when I took a couple laps, seemed halfway decent. Just wondering what your thoughts are on it.
Well, it's really dependent on line, man. This set really hates the bumps. You got some bumps in that middle lane. You got some bumps in that bottom lane, both in 1 and 2. And if you hit those bumps, man, it really upsets this car. And then getting into 3, you just kind of got some weird banking there, and it doesn't really want to turn in. You also got some more little bumps there. And so it doesn't really like to get into 3. And between all that and the bumps and getting into 3 and struggling there, it's really wanting to eat the right front off the tire. So the right front tire off getting into those corners. So It's really going to come down to backing up the corners and finding the right line tonight to save those tires if we get the long run, because it is super, super easy to chew up that right front.
And this track is kind of medium on eating tires up, isn't it? Not quite as bad as someplace like Pocono, but it ranks right up there.
Yeah, for me, I think this one might even be worse than Pocono for eating tires. Just maybe it's just me, but getting into these corners, I tend to slide the tires a little bit when we're driving her hard there. So it really wants to wear on that right front. And then, towards the end of the run, I'm getting pretty loose.
All right, well that'll be interesting to keep track of you guys and see how these cars are handling through the run.
Yeah, you keep an eye on 3 and 4 and watch guys trying to come out of there, point at the throttle, not to slide that rear end about 20 laps in, 25 laps in if we get that far, because it's a handful.
All right, well, we'll be watching. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, Steve. Good luck up there tonight, buddy. Take care of Charles for me.
All right. And real fast before we let you leave, Jeff, of course, any quick shout-outs you want to give, and we'll get you back for that driver's meeting.
As always, Walls Beard Co. No Shave November. We wouldn't be doing this without Walls Beard Co. And we wouldn't be doing this without Virtual Racing Network. Charles, you guys work as harder than anybody in the business and put on a whale of a show. So just so happy to be partnered up with you, man.
We're definitely glad to be here, and we'll get you back up there, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later tonight. All right, he is going up there for the drivers' meeting. We have about 3.5 minutes left on the clock before qualifying does come up, and about 1.5 minutes till the national anthem. So it's going to get interesting because while we were actually talking to him, Seth Frazier, your driver, actually posted a faster lap with a 30.564. So both picks for tonight's win are sitting 1-2 right now here in practice.
I saw that right in the middle of that interview there. Looks like he beat him by about 0.5 so this could be a pretty good battle going on throughout the race here between those two.
Yeah, and Seth Frazier here has nothing to lose. He just wants to get the win as, again, we went over those drivers that have a chance at the championship to get in the top 8. He is not one of them. So if you're going to be somebody who's going to gamble here tonight, Seth Frazier very well could be one of them. As, again, he has absolutely nothing on the line except for the win. So he's not jeopardizing being in the chase or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it does play out here for him. As we have about 2 minutes left on the clock, just over 2 minutes actually. We are going to go here and we'll go ahead and get silent on the mic. We are going to step away for the national anthem. When we come back, it will be time for qualifying here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and we'll cover all of that, let you know who's going to be on pole, and then we'll go to the Walls Beard Co. starting grid coming up in here in just about 10 minutes. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back with qualifying.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Qualifying is underway. Surprisingly enough, it's going to be Jason Berg, going to be our first driver out on the track, as we'll drop down there. But nobody's coming out onto the track just yet. We'll go ahead and put qualifying, your top 20 up on the screen. Of course, not 20 drivers here tonight. And surprisingly enough, John Ottenbacher is not here, who I kind of picked maybe as a favorite to get a win here tonight. Gary Nichols, though, is. He's been really quick, too, as you pointed out earlier. So this could get very interesting to see if maybe he can sneak out a win here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of drivers tonight that have a pretty good chance of pulling off that win. Just judging off the practice, we had some pretty good battles going on even there, some pretty clean racing. So should be an exciting one to watch here.
It should be indeed. Assuming we ever get qualifying underway, as there goes Jason Berg rolling off pit road. Again, him and James Paulson, the only two strapped in. There's Dale Windenberg going to be getting into his car. You know, sometimes we get one of those races here in qualifying where it's iffy as to who's going to be the first one to put a lap in. That is clearly not the case here tonight. It is very clear that it's going to be Jason Berg, the first one to put in the lap. Is right there. He finishes his warm-up. And since you are more of the racing side here, you did go run some laps around here. What is the preferred line around this track?
You know, the line I was running was I was about half to 3/4 of a width of a car off the bottom line. But I see, since then there's been quite a few guys that surpassed my time. But I think that's kind of going to be where the hot line is just up off the bottom a little bit.
Well, that's kind of what we were thinking when I was out here earlier running. That's where I was putting my car, and we'll see if that is where they do it later.
Yeah, it seems like it's just real hard to get the car, to maintain speed all the way down on that white line, even though I know that's where guys would like to be, and with the fresh tires and being able to get the gas down as soon as you are, as low down on the track as you can. I don't see anybody running real high, especially during qualifying.
Yeah, and Stalker here, as we don't talk about him a whole lot, as I went on board with him there for a minute. Dale Windenberg, third fastest right now with that 30.928, as James Paulson takes it to second with a 30.765. But Dale Windenberg, not necessarily here all the time, but put in a really fast time there to take third.
Yes, he did. And James Paulson's definitely got to be liking his time, looking to get into the final 8, posting up a number 2 time right now. That's got to put a smile on his face.
And Mark Walls now to, what was third, as there we have it. Look at the one we talked about possibly being the underdog and putting it in victory lane. Gary Nichols posted a first, but now he's moved to second with a 30.659. As your pick here tonight, Seth Frazier, in that 32 machine, takes first with a 30.541.
Yeah, that 30.541, that's cruising. I'd have to go back and look at the practice laps. That might be the fastest lap we've seen all night.
Yeah, I am thinking it very well could be. Gary Nichols still out on the track. Jeff Stabnow out on the track, as well as Chris White and Sean Brightsman. Those 3 drivers have not put in times yet, as Jeff Stabnow is going to put in a 30.626. And that will move him up to second place right behind Seth Frazier. So not much change there from practice. to qualifying, it is Seth Frazier, Jeff Stabnow. We both made those our picks before we came into qualifying, and here they are once again sitting in first and second. So will Chris White or Sean Bryson top their times?
Boy, that's very possible. They're a couple of very quick drivers also.
Yeah, they are indeed. And a 30.808 for Sean Bryson as he's surprisingly back a little ways, back in 8th place. But again, already locked into the chase. Not much on the line for him either here tonight. As we'll look, Chris White's going to go to 4th with that 30.701. And now it looks like Brett Johnson's coming out onto the track.
Yeah, interesting here. These are some pretty good times we're seeing. Nobody's bumped up into those 31s yet, so everybody's hit pretty solid laps so far.
It definitely has some very solid times. Again, we're just watching the 7 of Brett Johnson, who he's not a chase driver, so disregard that. I'm not sure why that is showing that he is a chase driver. That was not supposed to be in there. As the overlays have been tweaked here and there lately, and it just got in there by mistake. So those are not going to be accurate here tonight, as we didn't put them in there. We're just kind of waiting to see how it all plays out. And then we'll put those back in for next week, because there's a lot on the line, a lot of drivers that are going to be shuffling around. So if you see a chase driver one there, that does not actually indicate they are. We'll let you know who is in and who is out, as Brett Johnson takes it to 6th place with a 30.741. And so far, with 3.5 minutes left to go, Scott Hutchinson, Josh Coley, Ray Fournier, of course yourself, you're not going to be qualifying. Scott Mann and Gerald Heffley don't look like they are going to go out and put in a time.
Yeah, boy, if they're going to do it, they're going to have to get out there in probably the next 30 seconds or so if they want to be able to complete a couple of laps.
Yeah, they definitely... Good.
Oh, I was just going to say, and it's not too uncommon for some of these guys to let qualifying pass by and start in the back and just kind of see how things are going to play out before they get too aggressive and start trying to move up.
Yeah, it definitely is not unheard of. They like to go out there and, or not go out there and still start in the back and fill it out here just a little bit. That looks like it's probably going to do it for qualifying here. We still have about 2.5 minutes left on the clock. So we are going to step away here. And, of course, if anyone comes out, we will come right back and talk about it. Until then, we're going to go silent here for just a minute, and we will be right back. Again, if anybody comes out, or when it comes time for your Walls Beard Co. starting grid, coming up in here in just over 2 minutes. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as it is time to get to the Walls Beard Co. starting grid on row 1 here for tonight's race is going to be the 32 of Seth Frazier, and that would be Steve's pick, and my pick for tonight's race win, the 24 of Jeff Stabnow, starting right next to him on the outside in row 1. Row 2 is going to be the 8 of Gary Nichols and the 00 of Chris White. Row 3 is going to be the 21 of Jason Berg and the 7 of Brett Johnson. Row 4 is going to be the 30 of James Paulson and the 36 of Chris Walters. Row 5 is going to be the 48 of Mark Walls and the 46 of Sean's Brightsman, so 2 teammates sitting side by side. Row 6 is going to be the 9 of Corey Walters and the 73 of Dell Winenberg. Row 7 is going to be the 90 of Scott Mann, and of course the 45 Steve Silstad. Not going to be racing tonight. You're here with me here in the booth. Row 8 is going to be the 33 of Josh Coley and the 26 of Ray Fournier. And rounding out the field here tonight on row 9 is going to be the 91 of Scott Hutchinson and the 61 of Gerald Heffley. That will do it here for the Walls Beard Co. starting grid. And it looks like, of course, you're not going to be starting here. It looks like Scott Mann and Scott Hutchinson are not starting. So, all 3 drivers not starting here, starting with an S in their name. So, interesting, but other than you, the 2 Scotts not starting tonight's race.
Yeah, that's interesting. I after seeing them in here early, I really thought we were going to have a couple more on the grid tonight. But you know, sometimes things come up and you just can't make it at the last minute there. So hopefully everything's all right with them.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't just miss the grid. We have seen that happen before as well, where a driver just misses the grid. So it's unfortunate when that does happen, but sometimes it does, and maybe they'll be here later on and be able to make it here. As you're riding on board here for a second with Seth Frazier, as we have this camera pack. I didn't even realize we had an onboard camera built into one of our camera packs, but apparently it is there. So throughout the night, you're going to get to go on board with these drivers just periodically as they're battling. But pace lights are off, which means we are ready to go racing this time by. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some great racing here tonight, and we'll see who's going to maybe gamble here tonight to get that win, as it could get very interesting.
Yeah, this should be an excellent race. As we got the pace car off, it looks like the green flag's coming out.
It is indeed. There is the green flag right there. We are racing here again at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is the No Shave November 150 presented by Walls Beard Co. And we are off to the races. Lap 1 of 100. Jeff Stabnow gets a lead very quickly here over your pick, Seth Frazier, but I'm not sure that battle's done just yet. But Seth Frazier is going to settle for second place, as that outside definitely worked for Jeff Stabnow.
Yeah, that outside line just took off, didn't it? I wasn't really expecting that. I figured the inside would, especially off the start here, would just take right off and be able to pull a small lead on him.
Yeah, I was really thinking it would myself. But unfortunately for Seth Frazier, that was not the case, as Jeff Stabnow was able to lead that lap, and that's a bonus point for leading that lap. The question is, who will lead the most laps? That's worth some points too, as right now we have it up on there, but we don't have the fastest lap in, as we're going to go ahead and put your top 3 up there. And we'll see what the fastest lap is. It's actually Gary Nichols in 3rd place that has the fastest lap there on lap 2.
Yeah, and I think, I think every time these guys come in and get a set of tires, I think we're going to see a new leader on that fast time. I think these guys, as they get used to the track and how this car is driving, I think every time they get a new set of tires, we're probably going to see a fast lap that's probably a tenth faster than the previous.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That will change, and we may see it change here even in these next few laps, as we also have lead changes up there. We haven't had any lead changes yet. While we do have a different leader than we started with, it wasn't technically a lead change because Jeff Stabnow did get the lead before they came around to complete lap 1. He had the lead really off the start of the race. So that lead never did belong to Seth Frazier other than the pole. But I really think Gary Nichols has a shot here tonight. 3rd place at the moment and the fastest lap still. So he may be that underdog here that gets that win.
That very well could be, and I know Jeff had told us earlier that he was looking to get that bonus point, and he didn't waste any time getting one, did he?
He did not waste any time at all. Got out there and got to the front. And again, that's exactly what you have to do in his case. While the win is not going to lock him in or lock him out of the chase or anything like that, it is bonus points on the line, and those bonus points will come in handy when it comes down to the championship. Meanwhile, Seth Frazier still all over the back bumper of Jeff Stabnow's. We're going to zoom out here just a little bit. There we go. But your front 3 have really pulled away from the rest of this field. But Gary Nichols looking to the inside of Seth Frazier, but couldn't complete the pass.
Yeah, it looks like we got a battle shaping up here too. Oh, as Chris White taps the wall. So just about to say between Chris White, Jason Berg, as Chris White goes to the inside, can't quite make the pass.
Yeah, just can't quite get it completed there. And here comes the 7 of Brett Johnson to the inside of Chris White, and he will complete the pass due to that little wall tap there, as that killed a little bit of momentum he had. I think he's still faster than Brett Johnson, but we'll see if he's able to get by him. That will be the key here to know, can he recover that, because he didn't get much damage, if any at all. So I'm going to be looking to keep an eye on that, as well as James Paulson back there almost scrapes the wall himself.
Yeah, it's a tough one coming out of these corners. You guys going so fast, and you got your foot so far in it, the track just kind of wants to fling you to that wall out there.
It definitely does. As we go back to the front here, Seth Frazier is not content with 2nd place. He wants the win here tonight. As I have just watched him here in the last 2 laps, he has gone all the way to the high side, all the way to the bottom side. He is trying to find somewhere where he can get by Jeff Stabnow, but he has just not been able to complete it. Meanwhile, if he can get side by side with Jeff Stabnow, that's really going to benefit Gary Nichols, as he can try to get by both of them, let them wear out their tires. As there you see, as we go on board with Seth Frazier once again to the inside, and he may have it. Nope, he's not going to have it there either. I thought he might have had a run.
Yeah, it is. It's a little harder to pass here than the guy thinks, and looking at that 8 of Gary Nichols back here, I mean, I think he's just kind of waiting for these guys to settle their dispute over 1st place so he can move up a spot.
Yeah, he definitely is. And again, for anyone that's just joining us here tonight, Gary Nichols is in 13th in points right now, but he is one. If he gets a win tonight, he is in the chase. So there is a lot. Jeff Stabnow has a lot, or doesn't have much on the line, as there goes Gary Nichols by Seth Frazier. Can he complete the pass, though, is the question. We'll go back to what we were talking about. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to officially complete that pass, but he is ahead of him at the line. So while we're watching that battle, what we were saying is Jeff Stabnow is locked in regardless. Seth Frazier, he's locked out completely. Gary Nichols is the one that really has the most to lose here out of these top 3.
Absolutely. With the win in year in, that totally changed the whole dynamic of the series. So, being on the verge like Gary is right now, if he can bide his time and come for that win at the right time, boom, he's into the next round.
Yeah, he definitely could, but Seth Frazier not done just yet, as he is still coming back to the inside So I'm wondering if that may have been a bit of a fluke. We almost have contact there. Now, I'm not sure we didn't have contact, as there is damage. So there was contact between Seth Frazier and Gary Nichols, as it looked like maybe Seth kind of slid up into Gary. Oh!
Yeah, just slight contact. There wasn't there. Just enough to bend a fender in.
And just once again, may have been a little net code that time as Seth Frazier goes through the grass. But I did not see any contact the second time. It may have just been a knee-jerk reaction from Seth Frazier, as he still hangs on the third after going through the infield grass. So very interesting to see. But here comes Chris White trying to get by him now for a third place. Oh! Go ahead.
Oh, I was just about to say we got some pretty good battles shaping up, but it sounds like you had something really important going on.
Yeah, we got the 30 and the 36 going around in the infield here. As looks like no caution's going to come out for it, though. As I was about to cut you off for a caution, and it didn't come out. But Chris Walters slow on the track, as well as James Paulson getting up to speed. It looked like James Paulson may have slid up into the 36, but surprisingly enough, no caution comes out for either one of them, though.
Yeah, that was some really close racing there between three of them. I got to see who that third car was. Paulson kind of ended up in the middle of them and came up just a hair and had the car right on the outside and into the wall and down into the grass they went.
And it's a wonder more cars were not involved in that, as they were right there in a huge pack of cars. Somehow everybody gets through that, other than, of course, the 36 and the 30, both of which are on pit road now. And they will go at least a lap down. Seth Frazier trying to get his way back up to Gary Nichols. But he's got still that company from the 00 of Chris White, and I think Chris White may get him here as they go into the corner. Chris White's going to send it down into the corner, and he will clear him. I'm just not sure how clear he's going to be. But now third place does belong to the 00 of Chris White.
Yeah, it's still working on getting around him there. And as far as that 30 of James Paulson, he did not want to see that contact, as he is one of our drivers that is on the bubble for making into that chase there.
Yeah, he definitely did not want to see that. Again, just to rehash that, he should be okay just because Brian Barnes didn't show up. But again, that is just quick math on our behalf. We may or may not be accurate on that, but we think we're good on it. But what we do know here is, we interviewed Jeff Stabnow as having the fastest time in practice, and then of course Seth Frazier got by him. Seth Frazier having that little bit of damage. I'm wondering how much it's going to slow him down here tonight. Is I don't see too terribly much damage on it. We'll see if we can get a better look at it. So I don't think he's got major damage. I think he's just got a little bit of his momentum killed. I think he'll be back up there with Jeff here shortly.
Yeah, I would imagine he is. If nothing else, by the time this pit stop cycles through, he should be able to, if that damage is bad enough. Of course, it doesn't take much at this track. It's a pretty aero-dependent track, so a little dent on one of your fenders really seems to destroy the handling on the car.
And looking at times here too, we just want to point this out. We talked to Jeff. He said about the tires here, if we made it to lap 25 or lap 20 and 25, if we made it there, we're on lap 21. So far we are currently caution free here on lap 21. So we're going to be coming up on pit stops here in about 10 laps or so, 10 to 13 laps, somewhere in that range. As we did the math here, and it's going to be lap 32 or 33 when they come down here for their first round of pit stops, assuming we don't get a caution. We haven't so far, and I'm beginning to wonder if we're going to see one.
Yeah, this has been some great green flag racing. I know we had some contact earlier, but as long as the crashes don't come up onto the racing surface, iRacing won't throw that yellow flag, and the race will remain green.
Yeah, and, we talked about how fast these guys are going. They're still doing 180 there, almost 190. We'll see about 186 is the fastest I saw in that lap from our leader. But, we talk about tire wear versus speed. While these guys do have quite a bit of tire wear, their times are roughly 2 seconds slower right now. So when you get that tire wear on these cars, and they become a little more ill-handling, they don't want to handle as well as they did before, that was handling at those speeds. You're also going slower now. You're running 2 seconds slower. So, you get that fine line between speed and tire wear, and when you mix those two together like that, that is why we're probably not seeing those cautions, is because they're actually going a little bit slower than they were earlier in this race.
Absolutely, and I wanted to point out here too, it looked like Chris White had got by Gary Nichols, and we've also got Sean Breitzman. He's put it in 5th gear and really moving through the field.
He is indeed moving through this field. Seth Frazier, that damage is really hurting him, as that's going to be Gary Nichols that scrapes the wall this time, and he got quite a bit of damage that time. That was a hard lick to the outside wall, and the front of that car is quite crinkled up.
Absolutely, that is not helping the cause right at the moment.
Good news for these guys is they do have a fast repair, so he can get in and get that fixed, as the 32 of Seth Frazier almost scrapes the wall himself. Going a little back here, we haven't been too far back. You have Jason Berg, who was one of our drivers here, that if he showed up tonight and started this race, he was in. So he's in.
We've got sorry, Charles. As we've got the 32 into the back, the 8. The 8 just clipped the 48 of Mark Walls, setting him for a little slide there. Some rubbing here. We got the 8 and the 32 running bumper to bumper.
Yeah, we saw that out the corner of our eye too, as that is even more damage for them too. So again, this is really the worst case scenario at this point for the 8 of Gary Nichols. Was 3rd fastest, and here he is sitting back in 5th right now. Seth Frazier trying to get by him. So 2 very fast cars, one with a lot on the line and just not having what the night he wants now. He had a really good run, as there goes, I'm not sure who that was. It looked like, not sure, Jason Berg, I believe it was, into the outside wall now.
Yep, I'm thinking these tires are definitely starting to wear out. Things are getting a little bit slippery, as we've got, looks like, Josh Cully moving into 7th place here around Gary Nichols.
And we do indeed, and we're on lap 28, so they should be coming in here in roughly about 4 laps for their first round of pit stops here. And while we talked about it earlier, I do want to point out again there that fastest lap is still Gary Nichols on lap 2. So even with that damage, he's got the fastest lap, although it was run on lap 2. Oh, as there goes Josh Coley into the inside wall. And like we stated earlier, he's out of harm's way. No caution comes out, as there was contact between him and, I believe, the 32 of Seth Frazier.
Yeah, let's go. I'm going to go back and take a look here and see exactly what happened there.
And that is not good for him. And the bad news for Josh Coley, that's even worse here, is the fact that we are 2 laps away from pit stops. So do you come in? I didn't think he would. You can't come in right now.
No, I think he's going to have to tough it out for a couple laps. If he comes in now, then he's definitely going to have an extra pit stop at some point during the race, if this goes green.
Yeah, he's going to have to.
At the rate we're going now, it's looking like we could go green for 100 laps.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think we probably will. So he definitely wants to come in. And the good news is he'll get to come in here. However, Dell Winenberg is going to be the first one coming down pit road in the 73 machine. So he'll come down and get 4 tires and fuel, I'm sure. And we'll see from this point on, everybody else will be coming down. The question is, when will Jeff Stabnow come down? As he is not coming down this lap, my guess is he will probably come down at the completion of his next lap, and that will probably start the trickles there, as it looks like Gary Nichols is going to be coming down as well. So this should do it. This should start the first round of pit stops here.
Yeah, this should start getting real interesting as we are going to start making these green flag stops. These are always fun to watch, and see how the see how the field filters out after they're done.
Yeah, it definitely will, as it looked like Gary Nichols had to back up on pit road. Mark Walls coming down pit road now, as well as Corey Walters coming down. Jeff Stabnow not yet, but I think he's coming down this time.
So they're pitting a little bit earlier than we were thinking, Charles. Maybe a lap or two. I think they're going to be right on the edge there.
Yeah, definitely. And Jeff Stabnow still not coming down. And I'm wondering here if these guys are not coming down pit road for the fact that they're 2 seconds slower. Again, we calculated their fuel in, but now that they're running 2 seconds slower, they may be not using as much fuel. They also may just be conserving out there a little bit too, especially Jeff Stabnow. Out there with a 3-second lead, he could be very well conserving fuel, or have been conserving fuel, as he is coming down here at the completion of lap 34.
Yeah, and it looks like his teammate Mark Walls had pit on the previous lap. Is he coming down again?
It looks like indeed he is coming down again. 1 lap down, so I'm wondering if he got a penalty, maybe a stop and go, as we'll see here. He's pulling into his pit stop here, and there he is coming to a stop, and he's getting tires. So no, I'm not sure what happened on his last stop, but he is back down at pit road once again. So very interesting call there that he is back on pit road, as he's going to come out. Jeff Stabnow coming out, came in your leader, and he is still currently your race leader, as he is going back out onto the track to get up to speed.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this works out, being that he stayed out another lap or two than a few of these cars. 2 seconds a lap is huge. You know, I know they were spread out a little ways, but that definitely drops that gap to the leader down a little bit, I would think.
That is, as Seth Frazier is now going to be your race leader once again. Seth has actually not led a lap until now. He has officially led his first lap. Your pole sitter, which is almost unheard of here in racing in general, your pole sitter just now leading his first lap on lap 36. And that's all because that outside line was so dominant on the start. Again, I'm not sure if maybe the 32 maybe missed a shift there or didn't get going, but Jeff Stabnow took full advantage of it.
That he did, yeah. He did not waste time at the beginning of the race.
So it'll be interesting to see if he can catch him here, as Jeff Stabnow is running him down 0.366 seconds. So I think when you're talking right now, Jeff Stabnow 2 laps on his tires. Seth Frazier has 7, and those were all under green flag conditions. I have a feeling that the 24 Jeff Stabnow is going to catch him, as he's 0.066 seconds behind. And this is going to be like taking candy from a baby, I think, with those even 5 fresher lap tires.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there, Charles. Tires make all the difference, especially with that much difference between them.
Yeah, and there he does. Plus the fact that the 32 of Seth Frazier does have that damage to the car. He was glad to lead those points and get the bonus points. But again, going forward from tonight, moving on from tonight on, bonus points are only going to be important for those top 8 drivers. Yes, there will be some battles from 9th through 20th and through the rest of this field. However, the bonus points really are going to be crucial for your top 8 drivers, as those are going to be the drivers in the chase. Based on right now, as they run, it looks like we know for sure The top 6 in the point standings are going to be Jeff Stabnow, Sean Brightsman, Josh Coley, Chris White, Mark Walls, and Jason Berg. As far as behind them, I'm pretty confident in saying it's going to be Corey Walters and James Paulson. However, Gary Nichols could get a win here and possibly shake things up. But I think it's going to be Jeff, Sean, Josh, Chris, Mark, Jason, Corey, and James. I think are going to be our top 8 here after tonight's over.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking right now, but all it takes is one caution to mix things back up again. And the way Gary Nichols was running earlier, I'm definitely not counting him out yet.
No, we go back here to look at him real fast. And speaking of that 8, he has not used his fast repair yet. He's saving that for later, as we are 10 laps away from the halfway point. Gary Nichols, I have watched him since day one when VRN took over this league to broadcast it, and watched him progressively get better and better and come through this field. I almost, I picked Jeff Stabnow, so hopefully we don't jinx him there, but I would love to see this 8 of Gary Nichols put this thing in victory lane here tonight and be locked into that chase. It's always cool to see what you can maybe consider the underdog. But you almost can't consider him that, just because he has gotten better and better every single race.
Yeah, I don't know, to label any one of these drivers the underdog would purely be because they didn't like a certain track.
Yeah.
Not based on skill at all.
Yeah, definitely not based on skill. They're just so good. And again, it shows that here just from the fact that we're 43 laps in and we have not had a caution yet. But what we have had is Jeff Stabnow. I think, I won't say he's dominated the entire race, but at this point to date in this race so far, 40 laps led of the 43 completed. I would say Jeff Stabnow has to this point dominated this race, leading so many laps, and the fact that he has currently a 1.566 second lead over Chris White now. Seth Frazier has fallen back a little bit as Sean Brightsman got by him as well, so it's not necessarily the best for him.
And looks like the 30 of James Paulson just got into a little trouble there. Looks like he had to catch a tow back to pit road, unfortunately.
And I'm curious if the 26 of Ray Fournier had anything to do with that as well, as he's got damage back on pit road. So is the 61 of Gerald Heffley, and James Paulson has parked it here for tonight, so he is done. Gerald Heffley and Ray Fournier on pit road. Everyone else out on the track, so there are currently 12 cars out on this track. And Chris White's given, let's see if that is correct. I'm sure my math is correct here. Chris White and Sean Brightsman. Is that Mark Walls in front of him? It is. Mark Walls is a lap down. I thought it was my timing screen was off, but Mark Walls a lap down, so that is correct. I thought that was a battle for position, but it's not. Is Mark Walls somehow going a lap down? I'm not sure how that happened, but he did come down pit road twice.
Yeah, that's interesting to see, and that's going to be a tough one to make up unless we do get a caution here so we can get that lucky dog. These guys are just moving too fast.
Yeah, they are just moving so quick, and without that caution, he is going to be out of luck. Again, he may have some kind of strategy that we're just not aware of. As we do know, he's locked into the chase, so maybe he's that one that's gambling here a little bit, trying to do something different. And maybe have that last fuel, because we did hear that some of these guys would be a lap short on fuel, but if you have someone like Jeff Stabnow who stayed out there nearly 35 laps, they should be able to make it on fuel here with 3 stops. So this will be very interesting to find out what may have happened to him, because he did take 4 tires in fuel.
Yeah, I think that's might benefit him a little bit in the long run there, waiting as long as he did for that first pit stop. I mean, he's back in the lead right now, and it looks like he's got quite the gap on second place.
He definitely has the gap here. So it'll just be a matter of time to see if he can get back up there and possibly get that lap back. Again, it's going to take a caution possibly to do it, or maybe some of these guys running out of fuel. We just don't know, but we will be keeping an eye on it, as at the moment it looks like just about everyone's spread out, as Seth Frazier is back on pit road.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it looks like we got another one. We got another one on pit road as well, and looks like Frazier went ahead and took that fast repair. He had quite a bit of damage on that car.
He did indeed use his fast repair. And the other one back on pit road is Mark Walls again for the third time.
I've got a spinner.
And
let's see who that was.
Gerald Heffley is who it was in the 61, but still no caution coming out here for that 61 machine, as he is going to get it going back around again. As I believe he was just coming out of pit road too, so spun it trying to get back onto the track.
Yeah, that is, boy, these Xfinity cars, that's easy to do if you get a little excited trying to come off pit road, or even off the start. These suckers, they just break loose in second gear when you're giving it the wood.
And Mark Walls has been on pit road for 53 seconds here. So let's see, since he's on pit road, see if we can get a quick word in with him. As I'll pull him down real quick, see if we can get a chat with him. Mark Walls, you got a copy? Mark Walls, this is Charles in the booth. You got a copy? And it looks like we are unable to get it, and he is actually gone. So not sure what there, but he is disconnected from the radio here, as well as he has parked it in the trailer. So we will not get a word in with him here tonight. But meanwhile, his teammate Jeff Stabnow, who just put Gerald Heffley another lap down, is leading this race with a 5.6 second lead. So we may never know what happened to Mark Walls.
Yeah, I was just rewinding here to take a look at that. Oh, and it looks like a little bit of contact between him and Chris White coming into turn 3. Finished Mark's night off there.
Well, an early night for Mark Walls. Again, he is one of them that's locked in. So obviously he's not going to be thrilled about being out of the race early. Then again, on the flip side, he's already locked in, so maybe he can call it an early night and get rested up for the Thanksgiving holiday coming up. So, it stinks to see him out early, as he's always a good competitor to watch. But, he'll definitely enjoy a little bit extra free time here tonight, probably.
Absolutely, and it looks like Chris White picked up quite a bit of damage off of that little bit of contact they had there.
It definitely did. The whole front of that car caved in really good. That's going to hurt the aero, and that splitter is what's really important. And the back spoiler is fine, but the whole front splitter is completely destroyed. So that is definitely going to pose a problem here for him tonight. So he's going to have to try and use his fast repair. But the question is, if we don't get a caution, when is he going to do it?
Yeah, that's a good question, because unfortunately we're right in about the middle of this fuel run, so he's still got about another 15 laps. He's going to have to stay out there with that damage there slowing him up.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he doesn't want to. I'm sure he wants to get in and see if he can get it repaired, but it's just not looking like it's going to happen anytime soon. And if you go in now, all it's going to do is potentially put you an extra lap down that you don't want. So he's kind of torn right here between what he wants to do and what he can do.
Absolutely, and once again, if he hits it right now, that just adds one more pit stop that he's going to have to make before the end. Yeah. Well, actually, I take that back. Doing some quick math in my head here, I think they could actually... no, that's my math is bad. That adds a pit stop.
Definitely, your math's probably better than mine. So if yours is off, mine would definitely be off. So we'll go with what you're going with here, as we will have some drivers coming in fairly soon. Dale Windenberg, he's currently 5th place right now, 27 laps. So he was one of the first ones to come in before. He'll be one of the first ones to come in this time. So, it's just the way it goes. The first in for the first time, the first in the second time. So that's just how it's gonna be. It's how it always is. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see when he comes in. But I suspect it'll be somewhere in the 32 to 33 lap range, a little bit earlier than the rest of these guys.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Charles, and we'll have to see how that plays out for him. If he, did kind of a short pit on that first round, that's going to kind of offset that sequence towards the end of the race. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
It'll be very interesting to see how this pans out for him here. And unfortunately, we just checked in with the stream here, and we are still getting that pixelation. Again, we're trying to narrow it down here. We're not happy with it. We're trying to figure it out and isolate where it is, but we've pretty much narrowed it down to a software issue, or either a YouTube issue, or internet issue. So those are the 3 areas we're targeting here. Hopefully it'll pan itself out and be fine once it's all done. So we still do apologize for that, as we are still trying to figure out where it is going haywire at here. But we also are doing our best to just make sure we get it working properly. But speaking of working properly, once again, we're going back to the lead here, as it is Jeff Stabnow with that 5.9 second lead now. So he is just rocketing forward here, as we have 40 laps to go. But behind him is his teammate of Sean Brightsman, Chris White behind him, and now Seth Frazier. After coming down pit road, he is currently 1 lap down after being your pole sitter here tonight.
Yeah, boy, that one must have got by us. I think he must have got into an incident earlier to end up. He was pretty quick to end up a lap down already.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, as he did lead 3 laps, but just in the end, Jeff Stabnow was able to overtake him. So really ups and downs here for Wicked Chassis Racing tonight. Jeff Stabnow and Sean Brightsman really high in the race right now, currently running first and second, with one of those, of course, Jeff Stabnow having a dominant lead over his teammate. And then you go to John Ottenbacher, who unfortunately didn't make it here tonight and will be out of the chase. And over to Mark Walls, who's in the chase, but having troubles here tonight, 16 laps down out of the race. So a lot of ups and downs here for teams, and they're not the only team. There are obviously other teams out here that are having drivers real high in this race and low too. So, it's just a product of Vegas here. That this track can either treat you really nice, or it can beat you up pretty bad.
Yeah, that slick track and such high speed that it doesn't take much and your night's over. As it looks like we've only got 6 cars on the lead lap right at the moment.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see that there are only that many on there. Again, if we get a caution here, it'll kind of sort that out. And we'll get at least 4 of these drivers probably back on the lead lap. Josh Coley's the last one on the lead lap right now, as he is right there. And he crosses the line. There's Jeff Stabnow. So he is borderline about to go a lap down himself. So he is definitely wanting a caution, or for his car to find some extra gear here and just go a little bit faster, as Jeff Stabnow is pretty much putting this entire field a lap down right now.
Yeah, I'd have to say he's really got this track figured out tonight, as we're probably approaching some more green flag pit stops here anytime now, I would imagine.
Yeah, we very well should be, as we're on lap 32, and there is one of them, as you say it, is Corey Walters that coming in to complete his pit stop in that number 9 machine. He'll bring it to a stop, and I imagine it's going to be 4 tires and fuel, as he does right side tires. And no surprise, there should be the left side going up right there. It does. Again, no surprise, 4 tires fuel going to be the way to go here tonight.
And he was one of the lead lap cars until he took that pit stop, as it looks like we got Josh Cully and Jeff Stabnow coming in right now.
They are indeed coming in.
Oh, go ahead, Charles.
Oh, Josh Coley, as I was saying, he's coming in. Jeff Stabnow coming in. And to Titans Rule 2001 in chat, yeah, that fuzziness is probably a little bit on our end, too. Again, we think we have a YouTube issue going on. We are streaming this one to another channel, or another platform as well, to compare the two when we're done. But some of that fuzziness is on our end. We are still trying to work on that. As the pit stops have completed here, for the most part, Chris White has not come in yet. Seth Frazier on a different schedule here, but Chris White does come down pit road, as well as Sean Breitzman. And I'm kind of shocked here that Sean Breitzman and Jeff Stabnow on different pit cycles, as Sean Breitzman has to back up after missing his pit stall.
Yeah, that is interesting. He must be either they're not they're pulling a little bit of trickery on each other. Maybe they just wanted to be a lap apart. I know me and a teammate, we've made contact pitting together before, so they may be just trying to avoid that little situation.
Yeah, definitely could be, as pit road can get very hectic on pit road. And this time around, last time we talked about it, as the caution comes out here for the first time. And it looks like it's going to be for the 73 of Dale Winterberg. So let's go back and take a look.
There's definitely going to be some drivers happy about this caution.
There are indeed, as he hits the wall there once on the outside, and that didn't throw him completely around, so that didn't bring out the caution, but he was slow on the track, going 30 miles an hour. Ooh, contact between him and Gary Nichols, as that will spin him around into the outside wall, and that will bring out our first caution, 70 laps in, and the caution is out. So we had a huge, long green flag run there. But to the relief of a lot of drivers, like you said, the caution is out finally.
Absolutely, and I know Gary Nichols is not, he's probably one of the few drivers that aren't happy about this caution right now, as he used his fast repair a little earlier on in the race.
Yes, they did. So we'll see here. What's going to get interesting is we'll see Jeff Stabnow not coming down pit road. So I don't think he's going to come down. So let's quickly pull him down here, as we'll go on aboard with him very quickly here, and we'll take a quick word with him and see what his thoughts are. Jeff Stabnow, you got a copy?
I got you, Charles.
Well, this time we got smart. We muted that other mic for a minute.
Oh, nothing to mute me for tonight, dang it, other than I didn't want that caution.
Well, that's what we were coming to talk to you about here a little bit, is the caution coming out 70 laps into this race. I thought we would see 1 or 2 earlier in this race, but what were your thoughts coming in? Did you think we would see a few cautions, or is this kind of throwing you for a curveball that we went 70 laps so far without our caution?
Oh, I expected to see some cautions, and we've had some guys, make contact and wreck and stuff, but, I kind of forgot about that backstretch, right? It's really easy to just end up down there not in front of the race guys, and I think that's what happened. So car gets a little bit slick there, about 20, 25 laps into a run, and it's a handful.
Well, it definitely can be, and looks like you're staying out here. Obviously, 3 laps on these tires. You just were on pit road. One of the questions we want to talk to here is, since you are on the team with Mark Walls, we didn't get a good, clear picture of what happened there. We know he came down pit road multiple times. So maybe you can shed some light on what was happening there with the 48.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that there was an incident early in the race, but he recovered and was running pretty good and driving back up through the field. And then, there at the end, I think he and the 00 had a little incident. Don't know what happened. And, I think he'd already burned his fast repairs. That's pretty much the end of his night.
Oh, that is unfortunate. But going forward here, we know cautions breed cautions. So are you prepared for these last 29 laps, I believe is what we have left? Are you expecting them to go green, or are you, counting on that cautions breeding caution roll and seeing a few more of those?
Well, anytime we get bunched up, you got to think, especially at the end of a race, that there's a good chance that we got some more cautions. I'd like to see it go green. I think after about 12 or 15 laps, I got one of the faster cars out here. So seeing this go green, I think, is to my advantage. I'm not sure about a bunch of cautions and some short sprints, but I'll be rooting for the long green flag.
Well, we'll definitely be waiting to see. And before those lights go off, of course, Steve, got any questions for our race leader here, the 24 of Jeff Stabnow?
No questions. All I got to say is, wow, that car is fast tonight, Jeff.
Well, let's see if we can keep it there, man.
All right. Well, good luck to you tonight.
All right. Talk to you later, buddy.
All right, we'll get him back up there again. That was the 24 of Jeff Stabnow. We're running on board with him here. And we do have a Crank It Up cam here tonight, so why not, when we go live here for just a moment, we haven't had a chance to do it because we've been green this whole entire time. It seems like a good time here to go a little bit Crank It Up, so why not, as we are under caution. So we're going to go radio silent. And pace car is about to be diving off here in about half a lap. So when they go racing, we'll go Crank It Up here on VRN. And we'll be back here in just a few laps. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are watching this battle here. Jeff Stabnow still out front, Sean Brightson behind him, but look behind them. You have Brett Johnson, Seth Frazier, and Jason Berg. That is a battle for position, and they are right there together. Gary Nichols just a little bit behind them, has a little bit of work cut out for him, but Seth Frazier back on the hunt here, trying to get back to the lead.
Yeah, that caution bunched him back up, and we got some good battling going on right off. We're just hoping, I know the drivers are hoping that they could just make this thing stretch to the end without too many more of those cautions.
Yeah, they definitely do not want those cautions. Seth Frazier has cleared Jason Berg and Brett Johnson as he's on his way back up. I don't know if he has enough to get up there and get Jeff Stabnow. I'm not sure anybody has anything for Jeff Stabnow here tonight, to be honest. We'll see, but his teammate Sean Brightsman is right there with him. This is the closest anybody's been to Jeff Stabnow, but keep in mind, we're still real early into this green flag run. So he definitely he still has that time to pull away. And speaking of time, I want to go ahead and go way back to the beginning of this race. If you look here on lap 2, Gary Nichols still has the fastest lap from lap 2. Nobody has set a faster lap than him.
Well, that's going to make him feel pretty good at the end of this race. My prediction was definitely wrong there, wasn't it?
Oh, very interesting to see that nobody has beat that lap, as that was a 30.677. There is only one other 30.6 that I can see, and that, of course, is Seth Frazier with a 30.686. So very close to the time, but not enough to take the fastest lap here. So this could get interesting, as Gary Nichols is on the lead lap right now, but his last lap was a 31.176, so a little off of what he was here early. As they're going to make it 3 wide, and that's not going to work.
Oh yeah, that was some close racing there between the 9, the 00, and the 8, it looked like.
Yeah, that was very scary, especially if you're Chris White, as he got real loose out of that ordeal. I think Gary Nichols knows he's fast, and he's trying to work his way up through this field. You know, being stuck back here with these guys, this group here, is not letting him get back up there where he wants to be, as he knows he's fast. But just unable to do it, as we now have 20 laps to go. It is still the 24 of Jeff Stabnow that is dominating this race. But really the battle's going on back behind them, really between Jason Berg and Seth Frazier.
Yeah, they are. This is heating up here, you know, and Breitzman is right on Jeff's tail. He's not letting him get away this time.
No, he definitely is not letting him get away at all. He's doing a fantastic job of holding on. And we'll see if he can get by him and officially pass him, as Jason Berg doing a good job. Sean Breitzman, still, we're 15 laps into this stint, and Sean Breitzman right there with his teammates, Jeff Stabnow. So, again, this is the closest anybody's been to him. So, maybe Sean Breitzman has something for Jeff Stabnow. Is on their last laps, 31.510, 31.515, 0.005 slower. They just crossed the line again, a 630 to a 679. So Breitzman is a little slower, but not by much.
And it looks like Jason Berg just got by Seth Frazier as he ran up and traded a little paint with that wall there coming into turn 1, it looked like.
Yeah, and that has got to be frustrating for Seth Frazier, as all of his downfalls here, you might say, tonight have been self-inflicted. Getting into the outside wall, he's been battling, but really none of them, those battles, have resulted in incidents on the track. They have really been just trying to drive this car as hard as he can to stay ahead of somebody, and scraping or bouncing off that outside wall. So unfortunate for him, one of the fastest drivers here, just not able to get the finish that he would like due to damage to that car.
Yeah, that's a tough break, as he was my pick, and yeah, it was looking really good early on there.
Well, we still got time for my pick to not do so good, but my pick here, Jeff Stabnow, still out front, leading this race. I'm not sure if he knows I picked him, so hopefully he doesn't. We don't want to get into his head or anything that he might make a mistake, but we'll see. We'll let him know after this race that I did pick him. But Sean Breitzman, there's the gap right there as we're on board with him, 0.283. So Jeff Stabnow, like he said earlier in this race, the longer the green flag goes, the further he pulls away. His car is really good on the long runs, and he is actually pulling away from his teammate now.
Yes, he is. He wasn't just bluffing, was he? He's gapping him just a little bit. Let's see if he can continue to do so over the next 13 laps.
Yeah, and somebody who is, of course, not getting much of a gap, that is back here Seth Frazier, Brett Johnson. and Chris White. That is currently 4th, 5th, and 6th, and they are right there together. That little group has not separated much all race. Obviously, they've been different drivers in the group, but there has been a group all night. It's Gary Nichols hard into the outside wall.
I saw that once again. Not what Gary's looking for tonight with looking for that win. That damage is just not going to help him get up to the front.
No. And, you know, I wonder if he's just maybe overdriving it a little bit, trying to get up there. And, you know, especially if he knows what we know, that he has that fastest lap here in the race, he very well could be trying to overdrive this just a little bit, knowing that he's fast and he's sitting back in 7th place. So it's just a disappointing finish for such a fast, great driver.
Yeah, I hate to see that for somebody, especially the guy that's been turning the fastest laps and needs the win as bad as he does.
Yeah, it definitely is. We're going to go back up to the front of this field. Still not much going on. However, Sean Breisman was 0.3 seconds away. Now he's 0.2, and he's been as close as 0.1. So Sean Breisman actually now catching Jeff Stabnow. So he was right there with him. Then he fell back a little bit. Now he's back down to 0.3. So I'm not. I'm kind of curious here. Is right there will be 10 laps to go. If Jeff Stabnow is maybe trying to conserve a little bit, but I think he should be good on fuel. I don't think he is. I think maybe just Sean Breisman's getting a run here and there.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if either one of them were saving anything right now. I'll bet they're both going all out. We know Jeff wants that win, and I can guarantee you, Sean being in 2nd place, he's probably not going to be as happy with that. You know, he's sitting back there trying to figure out how he's going to get up to that 24 and get around him in the next 8 laps.
Yeah, it definitely is. And to answer a few questions here, we've been looking at chat too much here tonight. To get in one of the normal leagues, normally to get in one of these leagues, it's just a matter of looking that league's name up, like RaceCore or something like that. This one here, you must be in the Northwest Club on iRacing. So that is on how you get into this one. It's not open to the general public. But something like RaceCore that we do on Sunday and Tuesday right now, you could definitely get into that one, just being a member of iRacing, of course, having all the tracks. That being said, we currently have 8 laps to go. Of course, it looks like 7 as we're on lap 92, but they have to complete that lap. So we technically have 8 laps to go that they have to complete, as they do have to complete lap 100 as well, as it's going to be 7 to go here at the line. And there it is still. Sean Breisman running down his teammates, but that's a battle sort of going on at the moment. And then behind them,
it looks like Chris White just got the pass on Brett Johnson, setting his sights on Frazier there next.
Yeah, he's trying to get himself into a position to get a podium finish. Again, he is one of them that is locked in to this to the chase. And just to go over those real fast as you're watching this battle between the 00 of Chris White and the 32 of Seth Frazier, based on how we are predicting this to go at the end of the night, it's going to be Jeff Stabnow, Sean Breisman, Josh Coley, Chris White, Mark Walls, Jason Berg. We know for a fact those guys are locked in. Going on for 7th and 8th, we're predicting with Brian Barnes not being here, it's going to be Corey Walters and James Paulson, who is actually out of the race right now. We're expecting those drivers to be in the chase. So, again, that's just based on our math here as to who we are predicting that's going to be in here with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and doing some quick math here, I think James Paulson might just make it in with Brian Barnes not being able to make it tonight. I think he may just inch him out by 2 or 3 points.
It's definitely going to be a very close battle, and we will confirm that with the league owner here. league owners, Jeff Stabnow primarily, when the race is over, as we'll be working on a little video for that, as well as we're working on one here for Wednesday night, a little preview video. But again, such a awesome day for Jeff Stabnow. While his lead has not been as much as it was earlier in this race, he's still doing a fantastic job. Chris White still trying to run down Seth Frazier, just hasn't been able to do so. But Jeff Stabnow, what a lead right now, still 0.333 seconds.
Yeah, and back to Frazier, he is, you know, for as much damage as he's got on that right front corner, he is really holding his own out there, being able to keep Chris White behind him.
He definitely is holding him back. He's not like he's holding him up. He is at least about a car a length ahead, so Frazier, Frazier doing a good job of holding him off, but he's not blocking him or anything like that. He's just making Chris White work for every position he wants to get, and Chris White's just unable to get by him. So just good, hard, clean racing, and that is what this league is known for. Is just that there is we come to the line one more time. There it is. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Presented by Northwest Racing Series. It's Jeff Stabnow that is currently on the backstretch now. He is half a lap away from putting it in victory lane again here in the Xfinity Series once again.
Yeah, this has been a pretty exciting race, really. You know, we still got 10 cars on the lead lap, thanks to that caution, bringing a couple of them back here. Yeah, what a great show.
It is indeed, and of course, there is your race winner. It is going to be the 24 of Jeff Stabnow, who led 94 of the 100 laps tonight. Again, what a awesome race for him. You couldn't ask for much better of a performance from one driver. He did a great job. Before we get over to the post-race show, of course, we need to go through your unofficial race results here for tonight's race. So we'll go ahead and bring those up. Getting the win here tonight is going to be the 24 of Jeff Stabnow. In second place is going to be the 46 of Sean Brightsman. Third place will be the 21 of Jason Berg. Fourth place will be the 32 of Seth Frazier. And fifth place will go to the 00 of Chris White. Sixth place will go to Brett Johnson. Seventh place, Josh Coley. 8th place, Gary Nichols. 9th place, Ray Fournier. And 10th place will go to Corey Walters. 11th place will go to Dale Windenberg. 12th place will go to Gerald Heffley. 13th, Mark Walls. 14th, James Paulson. And 15th will go to Chris Walters. And, of course, after that, Scott Hutchinson did not start. Of course, yourself didn't start the race. You were here in the booth. And Scott Mann did not start tonight's race either. That will do it here for your unofficial race results. We'll go ahead and put your results up on the top of the screen. And give us just a moment. We'll be right back with your top 3 drivers here in the post-race show. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as we're watching the smoke fly from the 24 as he puts it into victory lane. But first, we have second place with us. That is the 46 of Sean Breitzman, who led 2 laps, and I believe Steve has caught up with him.
Yeah, heck of a race there, Sean. Watching you try to track down Jeff there at the end. Man, looked like you had a pretty good car. We were kind of wondering if you weren't going to pull it off. How'd you think the night went?
And it went pretty well. Didn't have the best short run speed, so was trying to figure that out during the first few green flag runs that we had, and then out of the pits there, and we got that caution, got behind Jeff, and I figured he's going to pull away. He had the best car of the field all night long. Great long run speed, great speed all around. So was just hoping he would make a mistake enough that I could get to his bumper and Truex him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was looking pretty close there a couple times, but yeah, he just was able to edge you out. But man, it looked like you had a pretty solid race and an awesome green flag run there for, I think that was about 70 laps. That's pretty impressive. How'd the car feel to you?
Car felt really good. It was a little tight, but then it'd get loose on the long run, depending how much you abused your tires. Overall though, I mean, it had some good balance to it. Just needed a few more tweaks to get in front of that 24.
Yeah, well, you guys, man, put on a heck of a show tonight. Heck of a race. Any sponsors and shout outs you want to give out?
I just got to thank Wicked Chassis Racing, Walls Beard Co. Again, it's still during the month of November, so we have the No Shave November going on. So check out wallsbeardco.com. And thanks to Virtual Racing Network and everybody at the Northwest Racing Series.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Heck of a race.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, that brings us to our race winner here tonight. Of course, dominating fashion. That was the 94. I mean, oh wait, that's how many laps he led. It's the 24 of Jeff Stabnow, who led 94 laps here tonight. So all I think we say is dominating performance. And really, we're just going to let you go over what was this car like, and how did you expect the race to go compared to how it went. And also, I picked you for the win, so I didn't jinx you.
Car was on rails, Charles. How's that? No, the car was real good. You had to be nice to it. You had talked to you in that pre-race interview, and said getting into the corner, so it's going to be real important not to burn up those tires. And for the first 70 laps of this run, I was really good at that. When we had that restart, and Sean just was kind of glued to my bumper there, I overdrove a few of those corners. So got my first little bit of tightness out of this car at the end of that last run. But it wasn't too bad. It was right there at the end. But for the most part, this car was on rails. When I treated it right, it treated me right.
Well, it definitely treated you right here. Obviously, burned the tires off here. Pretty much have no tires. I would imagine the tire wear here was just ridiculous. As we're looking at your best lap compared to your last lap as you cross the line, 30.706 was your fastest lap here tonight. When you crossed the line on your last lap, it was exactly 32.700. So you were 0.006 seconds shy of being 2 seconds slower on your last lap. So we talked about it a little bit, and we'll get your thoughts on it here, being in the race. Being that the tires wore off pretty good, but those times were getting a little slower, so speed was wearing off. Do you think that played any factor here to having that long green 70 lap run?
Oh, I think just getting spread out. We had some wrecks. They didn't bring out cautions. We had some guys kind of sliding off onto the side of the track there. So The fall off is just when the tires quit turning, you got to stay out of the throttle longer. You got to get out of it sooner and wait longer to pick it up. So, it's all about when the car turns and doesn't turn. And, as far as when you pick up that throttle again or let it out. So, I don't know if one's a byproduct of the other. I think the longer it went, the harder this car got to drive. I think you could just really just have fun in this car for about 10 laps. I mean, you could just fly, but it was easy to abuse it. So, I think we just got some really good drivers in this series. First class drivers, really good drivers. And I think more than anything, that's probably what contributed to the lack of cautions.
Definitely some great drivers here, including yourself and Sean, obviously, and Jason, who we didn't get to talk to tonight. But that being said here, obviously for every great driver out there, there's some great sponsors and partners that are backing them. And we know you've got some and some shout outs out there. So who would those be here for that win tonight?
Well, we're going to start off with Sean Brightsman there, man. Teammate there in TeamSpeak. It's Sean's job to talk me off the cliff. And when he's the one that's running me down and all over my bumper and trying to 1 minute figure out how to get by me, at the next minute tell me to just stay calm and take it easy, I got to give that guy a lot of credit. What a great guy. And so hats off to my good friend and teammate there, Sean Brightsman, and all the Wicked Chassis guys. Mark, absolutely fantastic teammate and friend. John Ottenbacher, I think he's still celebrating the anniversary. Couldn't be here tonight. I'm sure he's hating missing this, but I'm sure he's loving being on that little anniversary vacation. So hope all's going well there, John. Obviously, Walls Beard Co. Great products. No Shave November, guys. Get out there, order your Walls Beard Co. products, man. They're just, it's good stuff, man. Style that beard. Let's see, we got VRN. I don't know what is left to say after people just get done watching that broadcast that I'm sure you just put on, man. Phenomenal quality. All the work you put into the overlays, the work that you put into your craft. I don't think any of us out here in this racetrack put as much work into our craft as you put into yours. So hats off to you, Charles. And again, just glad to work with you. And then, of course, the guys in this league, man. We just keep getting better and better drivers in this series every week, and it gets tougher and tougher and tougher to win. And I'm telling you, finishing ahead of Sean there, and even Jason Berg, or not, I shouldn't say even, Jason Berg and Sean there. Wow, that's it's an accomplishment, man. That's how good these guys are. So I think that'll do it for tonight, Charles.
All right, we didn't even get to cue up the music there tonight. You definitely got a lot of great sponsors on board. Of course, that will just about do it here for tonight's race. Before we sign off for tonight, we do want to thank all the sponsors ourselves, of course, for the racing here tonight, this series, and this race, of course, ourselves here at VRN. And playing double duty here tonight is Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm. Again, make sure you check them out for their beard balm, especially here in the month of No Shave November. And, of course, Northwest Racing Series, Ohio IndyCar League, SimSpeedShop.com, and iBog. If it wasn't for these partners here for 2018, we wouldn't be here, so big shout out to them. And we will see you at the next race tomorrow night for RaceCore on Tuesday night. And, of course, after that, we are off till Saturday for, of course, Thanksgiving, where we're going to stuff our face and have a great week. So we'll see you tomorrow night and then Saturday night. Till then, stay safe. Have a great holiday week, because it's not technically the weekend. And we will see you at the next broadcast.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be used in any form without the authorized written consent of Virtual Racing Network. VRN would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.